So what's going on? What time is it now? It's about 8:10 in the at night, and temperatures are getting colder. One can feel I think it's fall is already arrived. Anyway, we're here to review a 2016 Ninja 300. This is the smallest of the Kawasaki commuter type or sport bike, whatever they call it, class, and it's a 300cc. It's a parallel twin, and it's a parallel twin. You can see the exhaust pipes right there. You got two exhaust pipes coming from the engine, so the pistons are parallel to each other, and the finish on this is like a matte or like a kind of a dull gray, and it's pretty decent. It's not as loud as some of the other ones because you got the KRT edition, which is pretty colorful, and this one has 22,000 miles on it. It's a 2016, like I said. Not in bad shape. Hasn't been only been dropped once. You can see the scraps on the fairing right here where it's been dropped. So that's been dropped right there, and you can see what happens when you drop it on this side is that you bend the gear shifter, so that gets pushed back. So that needs to be you gotta bend it back. That's the thing. You don't have any crash bars. I guess if somebody wanted to, they could put somebody could put some whatever they're called, those things that stick out here, and prevent it from damage. Prevents the bodywork from damage when you drop it. But I've had all kinds of comments about that. People saying that those things dig into the ground when you fall, and it flips the bike, so you actually do even more damage. These are Givi Bags, and you can see they got a mounting system right here. They mount to the frame on this side right here. They mount right there, and then they mount underneath the seat with this bracket right here. So that's a Givi bag. It's decent. It's not fully waterproof, but it's a decent sized bag. You can see the inside. Decent size. Will probably fit I don't think it will fit a full face helmet, but it might fit a few things. Good for travel. It's not 100% waterproof. You got the waterproof bag right here. That's a waterproof bag, and but it's kind of a reinforced shell kind of thing. Not not too bad for the price. They have lasted me. They have lasted for a few years now, and you can see over here they had to get welded. I took a trip up north, and the roads there just did a number on the rack. I mean, this thing was vibrating the whole time. It's just shaking like this. So eventually that was gonna crack right there, but I was lucky. I got somebody to weld that for me. That's pretty cool. Sometimes you get lucky. It's good. The people you meet on the road help you out. Yeah. So that's a bag right there. This is my high-vis top covering my license plate, and bike has been reliable so far. I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had any issues as far as reliability is concerned. I mean, the only thing I've done is I've replaced the tire. That's a tire. That tire was replaced not too long ago. These Dunlops, they wear out quick. These Dunlops wear out. The Dunlop, I don't know what kind of Dunlop Sport Max is very good tire. It's a high grip tire. The grip on it is very decent, but the problem, they wear out very quick. I mean, in 4,000 to 5,000 miles, you already wore them out. Rear brakes are good. I haven't replaced those. I replaced the brakes in the front front wheel down. I got those EBC brake pads, but they're very good they're good once they warm up, but before they warm up you get a little bit of squeakiness to them, and in the rain they're not that good in the rain. And being an aggressive brake pad, you can see what it has done to the rotor. It's kind of chewed up the rotor a little bit. I think it's a sintered pad. That's what I had, I think. So it's slightly more aggressive, and these rotors on these things are not cheap. I mean, the rotors are like $300. So I mean, like I said, initially when the brakes are cold, they don't stop that well. That's what I think anyway. In the rain they suck. I mean, in the rain, I mean, I think the OEMs were better than this one. So, but once the brakes warm up, they're pretty decent. Exhaust is stock. It's came with a Ninja. I'm not a fan of. I mean, you don't even get. To me, I mean, it sounds decent. I mean, most of the time I ride with earplugs anyway. So, I mean, to me, spending money on an exhaust on a motorcycle is, to me, that is, unless you're getting like an acro unit, that's a waste of time, because the performance on it the performance gains are very small. I mean, you're just buying it for the noise. So, but and the gains are tiny, like 2 horsepower at what, 9,000 RPM, something like that in the rev range. So you're not getting much replacing the exhaust. I mean, unless you like the noise. Like I said, I ride with the earplugs, so it doesn't bother me. And yeah, it's brakes are decent. Since I've been riding for a few years now, I'm using more of the rear brake now to slow down a little bit more. So that's one of the tricks I have learned. And I think the only issue with this bike is that this thing, even today, it stopped in the middle of the road. These battery connections are not they come loose after either due to vibration or whatever it is, and once the battery cables are loose, the bike just dies. So, and it's a bitch. I mean, it's not a bitch, but you gotta take this thing off, and then you gotta take the seat off, and the batteries underneath the seat. But once you figure that out, you don't panic. But in the beginning, that can be, the first time it happens to you, I mean, that can be kind of scary, because you don't know what the issue is. As far as that's an aftermarket windshield. I think the one I had previously started cracking because of these mirrors. You see, these aftermarket mirrors, this little adapter here kind of makes the mirror stick out a little bit out, or else all you'll be seeing is your shoulders. So what happens with the original one? This is actually a decent one for the price. I think it's a company, it's called Kemimoto. Because what happens is that cracking due to these mirrors, I guess they're vibrating. Due to vibration, you develop cracks. And then that's what happened to the original. And actually, it looks decent. I mean, I can't complain. And it actually pushes the wind out a little bit more. It pushes the wind out above you slightly. I mean, for the price I paid for it on Amazon, I was expecting worse, but I'm surprised. It's pretty decent. Not too many bugs today. I cleaned it up this morning. Actually, I like the aggression of looks kind of aggressive. I like the look of the Ninja 300. Actually, I like this look better than the newer ones, with that kind of true, the new bikes to me. The new in 300 is decent, but I like the more, this one is got a sharpness to it, and then it's kind of, it's got the aggression, but then at the back it kind of swoons a little bit. It's not too many flat surfaces kind of thing. So that's why, I mean, I prefer this one. I prefer it's got a softer edge to it, more mature look. That's what I would call it. I think the other one is too aggressive, and I mean, this one ages to me. This one will age better than the newer one. The new one is good for now, but then give it 10 more years, it starts looking dated. Anyway, so that's my opinion on the style. This is an ABS. This bike has ABS. Brakes are decent. I mean, it's not like, you can't compare it to an R6 or an R6 or a 1000 with the twin. We got the twin discs, one on each side. So that's not comparable. I mean, you can't compare to. I mean, for what it is, for the weight of the bike, and it's decent. Like I said, I'm using the rear brakes more now, and I've learned to use the rear brakes more. So that kind of when I come to a corner, I'm using the rear brake more. Like I said, the EBC pads are okay, but to me, I'm not too impressed by them. I guess maybe once as they're wearing out, maybe they perform poorly. I mean, to me, I don't know, but I think the original ones were better in some aspects, especially in the rain. And yeah, so this bike, I've had it for a number of years now. It's since I bought it new since 2016. And so what are my thoughts on upgrading? I bought it to keep it. I'm gonna sell it though, because I mean, I think it's time. It's not so much I want to upgrade. Actually, I'm gonna downgrade. I'm gonna go for an older. I'm gonna be messing with an older 250 Honda. So me personally, I don't care about upgrading. I think that's just marketing. I think a lot of people buy into the market that you need to have a bigger bike, and a lot of people listen to their friends too much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're riding with friends with 1000s, they're gonna leave you behind. But that's what the GPS is for. Find out. I mean, find out where the destination is, and then ride at your own pace. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not gonna keep up with 1000s or bikes that are more powerful than it. But as far as day-to-day riding, no, I think the 300 is decent enough. I mean, unless you're a big dude and you weigh like 250, then the 300 should be. I mean, I do 80. Actually, right now I was doing 80 just a while ago. And RPMs, I mean, the only problem with the 300 is that at 80 miles per hour, the RPMs are up there. So you're like about 7,000 RPM. Now, if you're doing 70, you're about 80, you're about close to 8,000. So that's the only thing. It's buzzy. RPMs are kind of high, but I guess these engines are meant for that. I mean, they're meant for that sustained high RPM running. But other than that, yeah, so it's a little bit buzzy compared to a 1000 or a 1300, because those ones are probably 4000 RPM lower, so it's less tiring. But like everything else in life, you get used to it. The seat is stiff and the suspension is a little bit stiff, but you get used to it though. I mean, you just gotta toughen up your butt and make get an iron butt, and then after that your butt gets used to it. I mean, after 100 miles or so, you do need to get off and stretch a little bit. But other than that, I mean, this little thing helps a little bit. I mean, at least I think, but I think this thing helps a little bit. This sheepskin thing, it does help a little bit. I mean, I think it just creates airflow, so you're not sweating, getting getting like a swamp ass kind of thing. So it creates some airflow, and don't sweat like crazy. As far as heat management, this bike is pretty decent. It does get hot, but it doesn't get super hot, because I guess it doesn't have an exhaust that comes underneath the seat. So I mean, you do feel the heat a little bit emanating from the engine if you're doing a lot of stop and go traffic, and in like in the middle of the summertime when it's hot and humid, you would feel it. But other than that, it's not too hot. And then what else? Yeah, so like I said, to me, 300 is a keeper. It's not a. I think it's 300s get a bad name. It's become like a stepping stone. I think most people actually underestimate how they underestimate. I mean, what a 300 can do, and especially in America, because this is a rich country. People can afford to you know, upgrade and get something newer. But in other countries, 300cc people, I mean, 300cc, they move a whole house with a 300cc motorcycle. I mean, they carry truck tires with 300cc motorcycles. I mean, 150s anyway, not even 300. 300 is a luxury. They use, I mean, a 150cc, they carry like 3 people. So, like I said, America is a rich country. People can afford to upgrade, and also, like I said, a lot of it is just advertisement. People have bought into the myth of you need a bigger bike, stronger bike, and I mean, yeah, they have their place. I mean, America is a big country, so it's a country meant for cruising, and a bigger bike is more comfortable. This one does get pushed around by the wind quite a bit. That's a problem with this bike, is that when you're behind a tractor trailer or a semi, it does push you around a little bit. But as far as the flickability, I mean, this thing, you can flick it. I mean, in the rain, it's decent. I mean, in the rain is pretty, I can't complain about it in the rain. I'm very stable in the rain. I mean, in the rain is always tricky riding in the rain, with especially puddles you can't see. But I've really never had no issues. I mean, weather protection wise, it is what it is. I think this windshield helped a little bit. I think now the air is being channeled just slightly above it doesn't hit me squarely on the chest, but I think it's just above the helmet. So it's even in the cold, you can ride. I think it's a little bit better in the cold than it was before, because I think the OEM was lower, and so that cold air was just hitting you straight on the chest. And yeah, so that's 6-speed transmission. Like I said, being a 300, the revs are gonna be high, so that one you're gonna live with. I mean, nothing much you can do. It's a little bit buzzy, but not too crazy. I mean, you get used to it. Your hands do go numb after a while, but then I think I've found out that gloves play a big part of it. If you wear those nice thin summer gloves, man, you're gonna suffer. But if you get thicker gloves, it's doable. And then also, when you ride, a trick I've learned is that when you're riding, you stretch your fingers as you ride. You learn how to hold the throttle with the palm of your hand, and then you stretch your fingers out. So at least you get a little bit more. The numbness goes. I mean, you can control the numbness a little. But the main thing is the gloves. If you wear those thin, little fashion gloves, whatever they're called, like those they used to wear in the wedding kind of gloves, hell no, you're gonna suffer. So hell, that's your hands are gonna go numb like crazy. But if you wear thicker gloves, I think, and then you stretch your hands, because you have no choice. You don't have a cruise control, so there's no choice about and then also taking frequent breaks. You talk about 100 miles or so, you step out, get some water, walk around, and I mean, the only thing I found traveling with this thing on the highway, it's decent. I mean, it's too safe for long distance riding, especially if you're going over broken pavement. If you're going over broken pavement if you go to the northern states with broken, the roads are messed up and the pavement is broken, yeah, you're gonna suffer, because it's too stiff for that. The suspension doesn't give, so you're gonna feel every bump, every expansion joint is gonna be there. As far as strapping luggage, it's also, I mean, talking about strapping luggage, talking about if you once you fill this up, you're talking about strapping luggage up here. The only issue I found with strapping luggage up here, it's better to even have like a milk crate, because a milk crate, once you secure it, it doesn't move as much. But the problem is, once you have a big duffel bag over here, every time you hit a bump, the duffel bag moves forward, and it restricts how much movement you have on the seat. So every time you hit a bump, the duffel bag moves forward, and then it pushes you forward against the tank. And what happens is that the tank, I mean, once it pushes you forward against the tank, man, that thing kills your nuts. I mean, your nuts taking a beating. So that's the only thing. And pushing it back doesn't help, because you push it back, you hit the next bump, it moves forward. So that's the thing. I mean, if you go like, it might sound cheesy. People might laugh at you. You never know, they might even film you, you might see yourself on YouTube. But the hell with people. Milk crate is a main thing, because the good thing with a milk crate, once you strap it, the milk crate doesn't move if you strap it well, especially if you got these if you got the brackets for the Givi bags. Once you strap a milk crate there, the only problem with a milk crate now, if you got a tent and some other things, you know, you can only fit so much in a milk crate. But as far as a big duffel bag, that is iffy. Yeah, that one is, you can carry a lot with it, because you can stretch that duffel bag across. I mean, this thing is amazing. The Ninja is one of the most versatile bikes, I think, because you'd be surprised how much crap you can carry on this bike. And this thing can take a lot of punishment, and just keeps on going on and on. So yeah, so that's the main thing with the duffel bag, is just the weight shifting when you're riding, and shifting, and then you having to, and also the other thing, when the weight shifts, it pushes you forward, so you're having to brace yourself against the handlebars to kind of hold the weight back. So that can also be very tiring. But nah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what you do, this wasn't meant to be a commuter bike, but it will commute. I mean, this thing, shit. I mean, I rode it all. I rolled it out I'm on the East Coast, and I rode it to the Midwest, to Minneapolis, and I mean, it was painful. It was not an easy ride, but it's doable. I mean, like I said, ride what you have. Don't complain and whine and say, oh, I don't have the money to buy a GS 1200. I mean, come on, not everybody has money to buy a GS 1200. Just make use of what we do. I mean, if they give me a GS 1200 right now, I mean, I'll be happy. No, I ain't gonna complain. But I mean, that thing is an animal. That thing is, just the height alone, I'll be scared of dropping it before I got used to it. So buy what you have. Even after this one, if I sell this one, I'm gonna be having an old Honda 250, and I'm gonna rock that and be happy. I mean, you know, do your thing, be happy. That's kind of what it's all about. So like I said, Ninja 300 is decent, nice starter bike. I think a lot of people should, not everybody, it depends with people, but most people should start on a 300. It teaches you a lot, you learn a lot, and it's very forgiving. You can make a lot of mistakes on a 300 and get away with it. Mistakes that on a 600 or a 1000 or a heavier bike would end up hurting you. So I mean, you can grab a handful of throttle and it won't throw you off, or it won't do a wheelie. So that's what I'm an advocate for 300 cc bikes. To me, I remember there was a vlogger who actually he said one of all the things vloggers said, he said one of the coolest things, or he said something that's very true, that actually he has met very few people who can ride a 300 to its full potential. And it's true. Majority of the people out there, you're talking about maybe 70-80% of them cannot ride a 300 to its full potential. I mean, so this bike, a 300 can do amazing things, a 600 can do amazing things, a 1000 can do amazing things. So just ride what makes you happy, and that's what it's all about. Alright, I think enough talking for the day. That's too much talking. A man ain't supposed to talk too much. And yeah, so that's my review of the Ninja 2016 Ninja 300. I'm gonna miss this bike. It's a beautiful bike. I mean, to me, one of the most versatile bikes ever made. I mean, easy to maintain, bulletproof. I mean, this thing, you can beat the crap out of it all day. You can load it up full of luggage. You can put, I mean, talking about, you can put 200 pounds in the back, and the thing will take it. I mean, you know, ride it in the rain, park it outside. I mean, theft is still an issue, but less so compared to a 600 or 1000. Weight is not an issue, so insuring it is cheap. I mean, really nothing much you can ask for. It's all around decent bike. That's a good thing about it. The 600, the 300, Ninja 300 is all around decent bike, and there are not that many things in this world that are just all around good things. And sometimes boring is good. Excitement is fun, but excitement can be expensive and get tiring after a while. Sometimes boring is good. Don't knock on boring. Boring is okay. Boring, it's harder to engineer something boring than it is to engineer something exciting, because boring means it's reliable, it's well made, well put together, and that takes talent. All right, I'm out. Enough talking. Let me go. It's a Sunday. Time to get ready for Monday. Because you know what? This is America, and a man gotta what? And a man gotta work. All right, later.